If you live out in the suburbs, owning an electric car can be tricky. Not only is there a lack of charging infrastructure, but if your daily commute sees you doing about 100 kilometres, that would mean you'd have to keep it on charge every night to make tomorrow's journey. That's where this Nissan Leaf E Plus comes in, however. It has an electric-only range of just under 400 kilometres. How efficient is it? What's it like to drive? Well, let's get behind the wheel and find out. The Nissan Leaf E Plus starts from $60,490 before on-roads. That makes it exactly $10,500 more expensive than the less powerful entry-level version. If you'd like any other colour than flat white, expect to pay somewhere from $595 to $995 depending on your choice. Standard features for your money include heated seats finished in leather and ultra suede, LED headlights with automatic high beams, front and rear parking sensors, and a wide array of driver assist systems. If you're someone who's a bit reserved and wishes to remain anonymous, the Nissan Leaf is probably the choice for you. There's nothing on the outside of this car that screams electric, other than two things. Number one, zero emissions. No internal combustion engine, no emissions. Number two, the funny noise it makes in reverse. It sort of sounds a bit like a forklift. If you're going to be buying a Nissan Leaf, it's probably worth investing in some good charging gear. Via a professionally installed wall box, it'll take about 12 hours to charge this car. However, using a regular 240 volt, it'll take about 32 hours, which is quite a long time. So remember that if you're borrowing some electricity from your friend. In terms of publicly charging a Nissan Leaf at a fast charger, it'll take anywhere from 90 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on the amount of power going in, as well as the amount of charge left in the battery itself. Inside, the Nissan Leaf remains rather traditional. Directly in front of you is a 7-inch screen which shows you all of your driving data, as well as an 8-inch touchscreen system. We found it to be a little bit laggy with Apple CarPlay, however, so be sure to check that yourself. Other than this little interesting gear knob here, the rest of the car seems rather normal, which is great if you're transitioning from a petrol car into an electric car. One thing worth mentioning is that this is a $60,000 car. Now, despite some heated leather seats with some Alcantara trimming, the rest of the materials feel rather basic and simple for the money. Space in the second row is decent, given the Nissan Leaf is a small hatchback. I've got a couple of centimetres of knee room, a decent amount of headroom, and good foot room too. Another positive is the two outbound rear seats are heated. However, a couple of negatives: there's no rear air vents, no USB ports, and this large transmission tunnel, which does impede on the third row's legroom. Boot space comes in at 405 litres, which is great for this size car. However, there are a couple of catches. First, if you carry around the electrical charging gear, you do lose a bit of space. Secondly, there's also this Bose speaker located awkwardly at the back of the boot. It might be weight saving, but sadly it's not space saving, and it does cause a bit of issues if you're trying to truck a stroller in the back of the car. If you lift up this boot carpet, you'll just see a boot floor, but if you look underneath the car, you'll find a space saving spare wheel. Powering the Leaf E Plus is an electric motor that produces 160 kilowatts and 340 newton meters. Power is exclusively sent to the front wheels. On top of the regular Nissan Leaf, the E Plus model features a 62 kilowatt hour battery that's about 40% larger. It enables it to cover 385 kilometers on a single charge. Topping one up can be done via either the 6.6 kilowatt regular charging port or via the 100 kilowatt direct current rapid charger. So what are the impressions like behind the wheel? Well, firstly, the Nissan Leaf generally feels like a regular car. All of the controls are simple. You've got dedicated aircon down here, very simple infotainment, great driver cluster in front of you. It doesn't feel dissimilar to an internal combustion car at first. One thing you do notice with this car, however, is the performance on offer. 160 kilowatt and 340 newton meters means when you put your foot down, the response is instant. And there's a fair amount of power there too. Sort of like hot hatch territory, to be perfectly honest with you. The ride comfort too is great. The seats are supportive. There's no lumbar support, but they're generally comfortable. The car's not busy, it's not fidgety on the road, and it's just a pleasant place to be. One thing you do notice with electric cars, however, is build quality. Given there's no sound, you do notice squeaks and rattles if there are any. This Nissan Leaf, however, has none of that. The various plastics in this car don't make a single noise. It's built really well, which is a sign of quality. Once you're comfortable with the way the Nissan Leaf drives, what you can do is turn on e-pedal mode. Now what that does is enable you to drive the car on just the accelerator. If you lift off the accelerator, you sort of feel the brakes heavily come on and it brings the car to a stop. It's a bit disconcerting at first, but you get used to it. And why you should use this technology is what it's doing is harvesting the energy from the brakes and refilling your battery, enabling you to get the most range possible. One quirk of the system is, if you lift off the accelerator and apply the brakes, the car sort of coasts and doesn't really apply any brakes unless you really press the pedal down itself. Just something you sort of have to get used to when driving in e-pedal mode. To sum up the Nissan Leaf, there are two things that are fantastic about it. Number one, is the cabin. The general layout, the controls, everything about the car is like an internal combustion car. It's not very hard to adopt and it's easy to use. The second is range. On a single charge, the car is telling us that theoretically we're going to do 375 kilometers. That's just 10 k's off the official combined